Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima. Book 4. Earth. Chapter 3. It's Cold Outside. The interior of Yggdrasil's trunk was warm and bright, a stark contrast to the cold and dark just outside. The heartwood glowed a soft, warm yellow above their heads, its form suspended in the air by branches lacing through the air from the wooden walls that formed the structure of the trunk. The anima fragments pulsed in time with its heartbeat. Just below on the ground was a small raised platform that looked like a tree stump. More branches snaked around its base and up past the top, forming a makeshift railing. Snotter clambered up onto the platform and shouted for Ygdrassil. "I've come back, and we have company." "Oh, we do?" A booming, ethereal voice reverberated through the room. Jack Thunder instinctively clasped Stormbringer to his chest. It wasn't that he was afraid of Ygdrassil. He knew he had nothing to fear from the heart of the forest. But her voice carried an incredible power, one that could make even the fiercest of beasts cower before her. He cleared his throat. Yeah, just dropping in for the winter solstice." He hesitated to tell her the truth. "Actually, we have a more serious matter to attend to," Frosti interrupted. "These three," she motioned to Jack Thunder, Buckthorn, and Shadowpaws, "sensed a powerful source of earth magic in this very grove. Might you know anything about this?" "Ah, I see. I sensed the presence of the fragments of anima when you came in. And I believe that is San with you?" "It is me," San uttered tersely. "We faced off against a Wendigo calling itself Nemesis last autumn. Have you sensed any Wendigos around here lately?" "No, nothing of the sort. Even if there were, my heartwood would ward them off." "Don't worry so much about it. The heartwood protects this entire grove from harm," Snotter finished for Ygdrassil. "Say, while you're here, why don't you stay a few days? We could really use some help with the winter solstice preparations." Frosti was about to protest, but she kept her mouth shut. She really was in no position to argue. This might mean the difference between getting to Terra and not. "Don't even worry about finding a place to stay. Ygdrassil would be more than happy to let you stay. Isn't that right?" "Absolutely, Snotter." The crew could hear a smile in her voice. "It would be no trouble at all." Everyone was fast asleep, snug in the leaf hammocks hanging from Yggdrasil's branches. Razor had decided to sleep with Jack Thunder, laying down on his chest. They were surprisingly warm for being outside in the dead of winter. Even Buckthorn had no trouble falling asleep once she was settled. But there were two people who couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard they tried. Frosti sat on a high branch, looking out into the night sky. She turned when she heard the flapping of wings. San perched on the branch next to her. "You can't sleep either?" he asked her. She shook her head. "No, I've tried. I just can't stop thinking about that Wendigo Nemesis." San's face shifted to an expression of recognition. He was worried about Nemesis too. He had met many Wendigos of Nemesis's sort back during the war. Intelligent, insatiable monsters with a single-minded dedication to their mission. Wily enough to fool even the most experienced Wendigo hunters, just like Nemesis had fooled Strombolio back at the Dark Carnival. He shuddered at the thought. If even Strombolio couldn't sense the presence of a Wendigo right in front of him, who was to say that he would be able to spot it? Who was to say that it couldn't get past the heartwood somehow? He sighed and rubbed his temples. Worrying about these things was doing no good, especially when he could be asleep. How was he going to function tomorrow if he stayed up all night fretting about things he couldn't control? "You're worried too?" San jumped slightly, jerking out of his thoughts. Oh, I guess so. He smiled somewhat awkwardly. It's probably nothing. I mean, Jack didn't sense anything weird when we went through the town, did he? Not that he told me. I didn't see anything either. Just a bunch of trees decorated in lights. Yep, they sure went all out on the lights this year, didn't they? Frosti couldn't disagree. The lights were even brighter from up so high. She wondered if there were more lights down there than there were stars in all of the night skies of Alterus. Frosti smiled. This had to be the only time of year that the ground shone brighter than the sky. The peace didn't last. The world darkened before Frosti's eyes. Cold dread washed over her as the warmth from the heartwood faded and the bright lights on the ground dulled and faded to gray. She thought she could hear faint screams around her as she felt a violent tug on her life force, threatening to tear it from her body. What was happening? All of a sudden, a pair of blazing red eyes flashed before hers. She screamed and jumped back, nearly falling off the branch. As soon as they came, they disappeared in a flash. So did the shadow over the land and the eerie wails in the air. Only a few seconds later, the world had been restored to its original state. A sea of white and blue lights danced across the ground below. The only sound that could be heard was the occasional howling breeze of the winter wind. She struggled to catch her breath. San, did you see that? San looked pale. Yes, I did. He had experienced this very sensation many times in the war. It was the exact feeling he got when an extraordinarily powerful Wendigo was nearby. He was overcome with anxiety. There was no question. There was a Wendigo in this very grove. But where? It certainly wasn't showing itself to anyone except them. Dang Wendigos, San thought, trying to scare us. Well, they're not going to frighten us away. They're the ones that should be afraid. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on the lookout for any suspicious behavior. And if I see either hide or hair of any Wendigo, well, let's just say they'll regret having ever come here. San snorted, puffing his chest out defiantly. He would not be intimidated by the likes of Nemesis or any of its magic-sucking lackeys. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like more from our friend Jack Thunder, you can check out my new book series, Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima, on Amazon using the link in the description. Or you can head on over to my Teespring and grab a few things from my shop. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content every week. Thank you for watching.